In the beginning, it wasn't the word. It was sight. Just a pure, totally unfiltered perception of the world. Today, we're going to explore this really deep idea that connects that very first gaze of a child to the flickering light of a cinema screen. And maybe, just maybe, to the highest form of prayer. The filmmaker Stan Brakhage asks us to imagine this. What if you could see without naming things? A perception so raw it doesn't even know the word green, but instead just experiences a field as this wild, infinite adventure of light and color and movement. He called this the untutored eye. It's basically the eye of a baby, just taking in all the pure data of the universe before language comes in and starts to organize and, in a way, limit everything. And this leads us to our big question. Can this technology, this whole art form built on light and shadow, actually strip away all our layers of logic and language and give us back, even for just a moment, that innocent, overwhelming vision? Could sitting in a dark room, staring at a screen, actually be something sacred? To even begin to understand how cinema could be a form of prayer, we first have to really dive into this radical idea of sight, what it means to see the world as this pure, unmediated experience. So this untutored eye that Brakhage talked about, it's a perception that simply receives. It's not classifying anything, it's not judging. It's a state of pure being where reality is just this constant flow of sensory information, a total adventure. It's a state of complete presence, like a child crawling through the grass for the very first time. But then we learn, don't we? We learn the word tree and the color blue and the concepts of far and near. And with every single label we attach, that pure perception just fades. The eye stops being an adventurer and, it becomes more like a librarian, just classifying the world instead of truly experiencing it. Brakhage suggests that, in a way, we learn to stop really seeing at all. So how does this all connect from our natural eye to the mechanical one? How does cinema, this machine for seeing, fit into the whole picture? Well, its most basic tool, the cut, might be a lot closer to our own biology than we realize. The legendary film editor Walter Murch builds on this idea from John Huston. Murch argues that the film cut, that jump from one image to another that seems so artificial, is actually not unnatural at all. In fact, it mimics the way we think. Get this. He says we blink when a thought is complete. So the cut, then, is like a blink. It's an externalization of our own internal rhythm of perception. And this is exactly why the experience in a movie theater is so different. Murch makes this brilliant distinction. We look at a television, but we look into a film. Think about it. The TV is just a surface in a lit room. It's competing for your attention. But in the cinema, you're plunged into total darkness. The screen isn't a surface anymore. It's a magic mirror that we just fall right into. Our concentration becomes absolute. Our immersion is total. And this state of total immersion, this modern, almost secular ritual, finds this absolutely stunning parallel in ancient mystical descriptions of divine vision. This is where it gets really interesting. Just listen to this. It's a passage from the Hekalot Rabbati, an ancient Jewish mystical text. It's describing a vision of the divine throne that's so powerful, so intense, that it physically transforms you. It's a sight that you can't just see, it literally consumes the one who sees it. I mean, just think about that. A vision that consumes you. Hallucinations that seize your gaze. An overwhelming beauty and a sound that just washes over you in a great tumult. Doesn't that sound an awful lot like being utterly captivated by a masterpiece in a dark theater? The sound washing over you, your sense of self just dissolving into the story on screen? So it's not just the internal experience. The very physical posture of watching a film mirrors a sacred act of devotion. The text gives a direct instruction for prayer. Lift up your eyes. In a synagogue, in a church, in a mosque, the gaze is always directed upward. And what do we do in a cinema? We go into a dark space, we sit in silence, and we lift our eyes to the screen, to the single source of light in the room. And the text goes even deeper. It describes how the threefold cry of holy, holy, holy corresponds to an act of divine embrace. With each repetition, the connection gets stronger. This perfectly mirrors the sustained attention of a moviegoer, right? For 2 hours, you are held, clasped, and embraced by the world the film creates. You're giving yourself over to its reality. So in the darkness of the movie theater, we all come together for this silent, uninterrupted, collective act of attention. We lift our gaze. We allow ourselves to be consumed by a vision. When you look at it that way, it is, in its form and its function, a modern, secular ritual of devotion. Okay, let's bring all these threads together now. Let's see the final, really powerful picture of how this art form can be understood as a kind of prayer. As Brakhage himself said, the true artist isn't just making entertainment. They're grappling with the biggest mysteries of existence: birth, sex, death, and the search for God. Cinema, at its very highest level, is a tool for that search. We can really see the entire cinematic experience through this sacred lens. The movie theater, that's the temple. The filmmaker and the editor, they're the priests, guiding our perception through light and cuts. The screening itself is the ritual, this collective dream we all decide to enter together. And the film is the vision, a structured hallucination designed to help us see the invisible truths of our world. And this, right here, is the connection. The act of seeing cinema, when we're truly present, when our gaze is freed from the tyranny of words, and we're guided purely by light and rhythm, it becomes a modern echo of that ancient praise. It's an act of total attention, of giving yourself over to a vision that's bigger than yourself. So it all leaves us with a final thought to chew on. If the focused, dedicated gaze of watching a film can be a form of prayer, what about the way we look at the world every single day? If every gaze really holds the potential for praise, what will you see next?